So there is a dark side to this story.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now.
Hey, good morning. It's a crisp January day here in South Carolina. And today we're going to bring you the tale of the Hampton Plantation.
And it's ghosts.
All right, you ready? Let's go.
I'm ready.
Okay. To get there from Myrtle Beach, head south on 17. It will take you about an hour and 15 minutes. But don't rush. Enjoy the ride. You'll pass through Georgetown and continue on 17 south. The Hampton Plantation is part of the South Carolina State Park System, so look for the brown signs telling you to take a turn to the right. You'll continue about 2 miles through South Carolina's backcountry. Then you'll hang a right and follow a dirt road all the way to the plantation. Parking and walking the outside grounds of the plantation are free, but there is a charge to tour the house. But unfortunately, because of COVID, house tours were canceled.
Well, we made it. It's a beautiful day. It's up to 50-something degrees today, and it's sunny. As you can see, we're on the grounds.
So the plantation home was built by the Ory family and was built around 1740. And then in 1760, they added 2 sides to the building, the left and the right side. And that was the added ballroom and also a dining area. So the left side was added in 1760 and also the right side was added.
And the portico was added in 1790. And in 1970, it became a registered historic national landmark.
So in addition to being a plantation, there's a lot of history behind this building also. There's a story that back during the Revolutionary War, people who were fighting the British actually came here to sought refuge, including the famous American soldier and commander Francis Marion, who came here for food, and at one point the British tracked him here and he had to go out the back and hide in the rice fields. In addition, after the Civil War, believe it or not, George Washington came down here during his southern tour to tour the country after the war was over, and he actually came here for supper. Now after that supper, the owner of the plantation asked George Washington if he should cut down the tree in the front of the house to improve the view.
George Washington said, no, keep it. And here it is today, still alive.
That's right. So George Washington said, don't cut that tree down to improve the view. And so since then, this has been known as George Washington's tree, the tree that George Washington saved. So there is a dark side to this story. Back in 1824, the young John Rutledge, who was 21, fell in love with the daughter of a pharmacist in town. When he told his family that he was in love, the family said, no, they're below us. You cannot follow, you cannot marry this young pharmacist's daughter. John Rutledge was devastated, and so he spent days upstairs on the second floor above the ballroom, just rocking in his chair and sobbing over and over. The family thought that he would get over it. But one day they heard a loud boom, And poor John Rutledge at age 21 took his own life with a shotgun. Right there in the rocking chair, he was dead. Now, since that time, people have heard noises coming from the upstairs room where he took his life. The sound of a man who was crying, the sound of a rocking chair. They've even seen the rocking chair move with nobody in it. And so it's felt that the ghost of John Rutledge still haunts this building today.
Wow, Steve, that's really scary.
It is.
I'm glad we're not here at night.
Yeah, let's not come back at night. After learning about the history of the plantation house, we then explored the grounds. What's also nice about exploring the grounds here is that there are walking trails all around the plantation, including some down by the river. And we're going to see if we can take a look at those while we're here.
So the owner of the plantation loved camellias, so they planted them all around the grounds. As you walk through, you'll see a lot of trees. Pinks, reds, whites, really pretty.
And the cool thing is that these plants actually bloom in the winter, which seems unusual to me coming from the north, but they bloom in the winter. So on one of the trails, you'll come across the Rutledge gravesite, which I assume this is the ground where the family was buried when they passed. After checking out the family cemetery, we continued to explore the trails. On one of the trails, we came across the tombstone of the young John Rutledge, who took his life because of a broken heart. So if you follow one of the trails that leads from the back of the house, it'll bring you down to the rice plantations and the water. And of course, water was essential for growing rice here in South Carolina. And all these plantations were built along the various streams and rivers that pass through this area. So right behind me and behind the plantation is a creek that was used to bring supplies to the plantation. But it was also the way that enslaved people would escape the plantation. They escaped obviously because they were enslaved and because of the brutal conditions at times and because they were often separated from loved ones. So they would get into this creek and escape. Now, what they had around here were something called slave patrols, which went along the banks of the creek. And their job was to capture the slaves that were trying to escape and bring them back to their owners. And they were paid somewhere around $70 for every slave they brought back. Unfortunately, it's part of the negative, evil history of South Carolina, but at the time, the people just considered it norm. So I guess we could say that we learn from the past to make the future a better place to live. We hope you enjoyed this video. The Hampton Plantation gives you a look into South Carolina's past and is definitely worth the visit. Remember, parking and walking the grounds are free. Until next time, safe travels.